Also, being in control of your emotions, because trading or investing in general has a lot. It plays a lot with your emotions, and you could be very smart. You could know a lot about what you're doing, but at the end of the day, you see money like go up a lot, and you feel that it's safe, and like you just hold it and you think it's gonna keep going up.
Basically, the foundation is like self-taught, right? So nobody have ever taught you how to do this maybe before you jump into it.
Yeah, or just a mix of like a lot of people and like a lot of places. Just research as well. Personally, like or is usually the most critical about whenever I make a decision to invest is my dad. He always starts off with like the negative, and then after, if he agrees with what I have to say, if I am able to convince him, then he agrees with it. Or if I'm never able to convince him, he'll say that's a bad idea, I don't like it.
Welcome back. I'd like to thank you, one of you guys who have already subscribed, and if you can do me a little bit favor, please subscribe, because it will give us more energy to bring you more guests on this podcast. The numbers shows that 90% of the people who are watching our videos, they're not subscribing. Please remember, subscribe. Today I am with the special guest, Mr.
David Puebla.
David Puebla.
David Puebla, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
David Puebla. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Canada. I'm from Toronto, and then 3 years ago I moved to Mexico, and now I live in Dubai.
Now you're in Dubai.
Yeah.
Wow. In Dubai they say, "Welcome to Dubai, Habibi."
That's true.
So,
come to Dubai, Habibi.
Yes. Basically, most of the people, most of the viewers, they would like to know, who is David?
Well, I grew up in Canada, and I've always been interested in finance my whole life. I'm 21 years old, and I started kind of investing when I was around 17. I grew a lot of interest in the stock market mostly, and like I looked up to people like Warren Buffett, and I just, after that, I knew what I wanted to do. It was my passion. And when I moved to Mexico, I decided to study finance. So I did management and finance.
Yep.
And then after about 2 years, I discovered the program that I'm in. And now I moved to Dubai. And now I'm studying business and technology.
Yes. But the first time I met you, your introduction, you told me that you do a crypto.
That's right. Yeah, that's new. Actually, I just got into investing in crypto just like maybe earlier this year. I met somebody who's my mentor now, and he specializes in decentralized currency. Before, I was a little bit unsure about how to approach it, but then after, like, I learned enough to feel more secure and confident about it. And like even earlier this year, I was developing kind of my own crypto based on backed by like assets, so that it's a more centralized currency. But I became interested in Bitcoin mostly, and now I think I know a good amount at this point.
Wow! You have your own crypto, right?
Not yet. It's I'm working on it, but I'm working on like the fine details, I would say.
So based on the crypto, like you say that you are into cryptos, and I'm very interesting, and I'd like to know more. What was the first crypto you ever bought?
Bitcoin. I just, I started off with Bitcoin. The thing is, like, it's the most popular one. It's the biggest one, and so there's more voice around it. Like, there's more people talking about it. There's more governments backing it. as of now, I think it's the biggest one. Perhaps it's not the best one. It depends. I think a lot of factors, but it was the first one, and even still, like it's the one that I invest in the most. There are a few other ones that are like less huge, less known, but have a lot of potential. I notice.
Yeah. Do you still hold in it?
In Bitcoin, yes, I do.
You still holding it?
Yeah. I'm holding it. Actually, I just bought a little bit before the elections, and it did pretty well. So, and I expect it to go up a lot more. So I'm gonna keep holding it.
Yeah, let me hope that you are just making a good money, huh?
Yeah, it's good.
So, have your journey as a crypto trader, and I would like to know, what was the biggest lesson you've ever learned from about the trade?
That's a good question. To me, I think it's probably knowing when to sell, and also being in control of your emotions, because trading or investing in general it plays a lot with your emotions, and you could be very smart, you could know a lot about what you're doing, but at the end of the day, you see money like go up a lot, and you feel that is safe, and like you just hold it and you think it's going to keep going up, or you see all the like money go in red and go down, and then you start panicking and thinking like, oh, where did I go wrong, and all that stuff. And like you just need to be sure about what you're doing, and just kind of not make decisions based on just emotions. I think you need to be rational about any financial decision in general.
So, as a journey to crypto, who taught you how to trade cryptos?
To trade, I think in general, like it was passed along. I guess my own expertise, like in trading with equities, like stocks. It's somewhat similar, and then I've just been following different crypto coins for a few years. Actually, I've been like watching Bitcoin probably since 2020, and then. During the summer, I met a professor from Stanford. His name is Nitin Gaur, and he's amazing, and he specializes in that. And like I learned from him, and he told me, I guess, personally how he invests and his holdings and all that stuff, and how he sees it going into the future, and helped me a lot. And then I've met other people who have also like helped me like learn more about it, and then I got into it when I realized like I see where this could go.
So basically the foundations like self-taught, right? So nobody have ever taught you how to do this maybe before you jump into it?
Yeah, or just a mix of like a lot of people and like a lot of places, just research as well. Personally, like personal research.
According to Mr. David, if you had to pick only one coin to hold for the next 10 years, which would it be, and why?
I would say, from what I know, I think either Bitcoin and Ethereum. I like them a lot. Ethereum has a lot more like, I guess, thought into it, because Bitcoin I think was the first one, and so it was just a program, and really like they haven't made any changes in like almost 15 years, like 15 years, and so it's the kind of original one, and there's a lot of room to like improve in it. But realistically, I think it's the biggest one, Bitcoin. I would probably choose Bitcoin as a long-term one, because especially now that like with the new election in the United States, like there's a lot of potential for the government to back it. Actually, like Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to increase certain policies, like or enforce certain policies on making like United States like the crypto central bank of the world. And so that has a big potential, like Bitcoin specifically. And so that's why I think like probably buy and hold Bitcoin.
Buy and hold. So to the extent that you can feel like you just need to hold it for 10 years, because right now we are seeing the Bitcoin is at 75,000.
Yeah, 76 actually, I think.
Oh, 76.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Now it's just booming, because I remember last year, 2020, before the election as well, same time, when Trump was on the presidency.
Yeah.
It was on 64 or 65, I remember that time.
Something like that, yeah. I think it was 64, yeah.
So by the time Biden took the presidency, and it went down.
That's right.
Around like 20 something like that. So
That's right.
so in the 10 years, you can be surely tell people that you can still buy and hold it.
I think so. I'm not sure what the 10 years will look like. I mean, anything can happen in the future. And one thing about cryptocurrency that I think people should be aware of, as well as myself, is that it's one of those things that is purely demand based. And so there's no real real value behind it, other than just what people are willing to spend on it and what the demand is. And so realistically, it's something that can grow, and that a lot of entities, companies, countries even are backing it. So that gives it a lot of stability in that sense. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things that can go up or it can go down incredibly. And so it's something that you can't really see exactly where it will go in the next 10 years. Like, anybody can have their prediction. Some people say, well, 3x in the upcoming year or two, just solely due to Donald Trump and going back to office. But it's unclear. It's like not 100% sure. But I'm gonna continue to hold Bitcoin and possibly buy a bit more. So that me personally, yeah.
So you have to hold it until maybe you die, or
Now, hopefully you can spend it at one point. Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah.
So there is a volatility in the market. So like you said, during the election, there was volatility too much. So we've never seen that move before.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So
the S&P 500 in terms of indexes, it reached the best. I think it was the best movement they've had all year for sure. And then I think probably since
So what was the strategy, or what is the strategy when the market is making highs and lows? That's such a market like that.
That's a good question. Actually, when I got into investing, it was a similar movement. It was just a bit before the coronavirus hit, and in the peak, I guess, the low of the pandemic, which is around March 2020. That's when I made the most investments, and at that point everything was going up. It was very, very difficult for things to go down unless it involved a lot of in-person things, and we're seeing a lot of the same thing right now with this election, where it's everything seems to be going up in general, especially companies such as Tesla and the ones that are more directly affected by this election. And so it has to do with a little bit of research, definitely a lot of research on what the plans are for the new president, and what how this can affect the companies. For example, with Elon Musk with Tesla, which now yesterday it just hit $1 trillion in market cap.
Damn.
Yeah,
this guy is getting rich every single day.
It said yesterday that Elon Musk hit over $300 billion in his personal wealth, which is insane.
Man, it's very insane.
And so he's been endorsing Trump for months, or even for the entire time he's been running, and because he knows that it will affect him in a positive way if he wins. It will help him with his companies. And as you could probably see, if you look, Tesla has been one of the biggest gainers of the election. And so it has a lot to do with what it implies and what the future brings, because an election is big because it can impact 4 years, and 4 years is a lot. And so a lot, speaking in terms of what a company can do in that time. And so just looking at the outlook, that's how you can tell, I guess. It tells you a lot about how the stock is moving, just based on one action, one decision. It can affect years. And so that's why it's such such a big thing, and so it has a lot to do with knowing what's going to be affected and what will go down. Even like some companies will definitely go down based on this.
Yeah, maybe let us rely on that one. Maybe it could make people money. You never know.
Yeah.
And it could make people lose.
Yeah. 100%.
So, according now, the world is changing. Technology are coming. So, do you believe crypto it could replace like traditional finance?
The volume?
Yeah.
Do you think that sorry, could you say the question again?
My question was, the world now is insane and technology is taking over. So, do you believe crypto it could replace the traditional finance? And why?
The thing is, it's very difficult to tell. It's like cryptocurrency is one of those things that I really believe in blockchain as a technology. So like crypto is based on blockchain and the technology, and that's why it's been picking up like in the past decade or two. And it has a lot to do with how decentralized it is and how secure, the security of it, and not having to depend on certain governments who print out the money and like make the decisions on interest rates and all that stuff. And so I think it's one of those technologies that will be in the future 100%. It's difficult to know what will happen to traditional currencies that exist now, like the dollar or the euro or like things like that. But I think it depends on the right coin. Perhaps not even Bitcoin will replace those. But I think the right coin with the right technology and the right backing and structure, it could have potential to replace many, if not all of them. It's unsure. It's unclear. But I think so. It could be.
It could be. We know that crypto is it's a mind game. It involves with the psychology. So if your psychology is very bad, or if you're not a master with your psychology, the whole. So my question was, these things of trading cryptos, it's a game of psychology, mind gaming. But if your psychology is very poor, it will affect your trading journey. So, what is the psychology that you ever learned into trading in cryptos?
One of the things that I learned actually early on is that in general, when you're investing in trading and things like that, you need to kind of think about what 99% of the people are thinking, and that will help you a lot. Like I say in general, in trading, investing, stuff like that, 80 to 90% of people have no idea what's going on. Like their psychology is probably bad. And so once you're able to understand that part and what they're thinking, you can do a lot with that. Like if a lot of people, as I was mentioning before, like to be in control of emotions, most people are not. Most people will make decisions based on their emotions, how they feel, where they say, oh, like it's gonna go up, I'm gonna miss out, I should invest now, and so it goes up even more. Or it starts going down a little bit, people are scared and they sell, and then it goes down even more. And so you can take advantage of a lot of that as well.
Yes.
And so in terms of trading, especially something like crypto, which is very difficult to even study, it's just one of those things that is, like as you were saying, just purely psychology based. It's important to kind of know what 95% of the people are doing and do what's not that.
Not doing the same people what they are doing. That's more interesting. So as we are talking about the psychology, emotion as well. So how do you keep your emotions in checking when market is making you a big trade?
Like in terms of like trading itself, I try to look at as long term as possible. And so day trading and things like that, it's one of those things that I try not to get into. It's too much. Like I know that I learned early on that for me, my emotions like get to me very quickly, and especially when it's like my own money and things like that. You know, like it's it can get to you very easily. And so whenever I'm investing, I'm sure that I can study a company or study something before I make the right decision, and then see where that's going to go. And even if it goes up, even if it goes down, you know, usually when I buy it, it goes down for a little bit. Almost always it will go down a little bit and then it will go up. And it's just from practice, getting used to it and like understanding that it will go up, it will go down, and that's normal. It's like part of the game, you know.
It's a part of the game.
It's a part of the game. That's right. Yeah, like being in control of because you will see the things that you invest in, your money will go down at some point. That's guaranteed. And so once you understand that it will go down, and then that's okay, you can kind of look past it and not let it affect you too much. And you know, sometimes it's just a matter of just putting it in and just not looking at it, just trusting in yourself and just trusting and letting it go.
Yes, trusting your process.
Trusting the process. That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, another question here is, what is your take on the role of social media and the influencers into crypto world?
Like the role. It could have a lot of potential, I think.
One camera went off.
This one?
I think. The main one. That's not it because of this hard.
Maybe you could bring it back a little bit.
It's giving me a headache.
It's like turning on and off all the time. Do you know?
Yeah, it's killing me. It's pretty bad.
Maybe it's this.
So, so what was the question? Yeah, it was. Repeat the question. So, Mr. David,
Hmm.
what is your take on the role of social media and the influencers into a crypto world?
I think social media is one of those things that is gonna persist in the future, and I think even take a bigger role. The way I see it personally, it has a lot to do with business now than before. And in terms of crypto, I feel like there's a lot of ways that they can work together. Online purchasing could probably be big,
Yeah.
I think. And even in terms of like influencers, like social media influencers, they could have a big role.
Anyway, Mr. David, when do you decide it's the right time to take the trade or to close the profit?
You know, I have trouble with that myself. But like, usually what I do is I determine before I even buy it, what is the price like I'd be willing to sell it at, and then kind of if it hits that amount, then even if I think it's gonna go up more, I'll sell it, and even if it doesn't go up, even if it takes longer, I'll wait. So I kind of have a set price to sell it, even if it takes longer or less time. And so the other day, actually, like a few months ago, I invested in a company that I expected to hold for well over a year, 2 years, 3 years, but there were certain situations in the market that made it increase a lot, like made it go up into a little bit of a bubble, and so I decided to sell it early because it hit the price that I wanted it to hit. And so I made the trade. Instead of 1-2 years, it took me like 2 months, so I made that same amount. And then I'm hoping to, like, when it goes back down, to like reinvest and then do that again.
Yeah. According to experience, if you could go back, what would you do differently?
I mean, my experiences have helped me with how I am now. Like, even the mistakes, they've helped me learn. So realistically, if I would do everything perfect, I don't know if I would like be the same even now, like making the right decisions. But I would say one of the biggest mistakes you could say that I've made in trading was like during the pandemic, I invested in one of the vaccine companies. That was the most profitable one other than Pfizer. I invested in Moderna, and I bought before when they were announcing, they were developing the vaccine, so it was still early on. And during the selling of the vaccine, like the prime, it was like near the summer of 2021, it went 4 or 5x the amount. And just ambitiously, I held onto it and thinking, oh, this is gonna go up way more. And of course, although this is my early days of investing, like it was, I think, a bit foolish to like think it would go up more than 5-6 times, and I could have just taken the profits from there. It was like a 2-month thing, and so I ended up selling it after maybe I did like 2x. So I lost a lot of those gains just from being a bit too ambitious and holding for too long. I think that's the one that hurts the most, you could say.
So as the person who is into crypto and investing stuff like that, so before you take any investment, how oftenly do you do a research on the new coin that you want to invest in?
I think it doesn't matter too much the time, but as long as you have gotten what you need, the amount of information is what matters. Like if you've been researching for a week and you think you know everything about this coin or enough to make the trade, then go ahead. But sometimes even like a year is a lot. Like just like watching, like there are some companies or coins or things like that I've been watching for a while without interacting with it, and then until now I decided to start putting my money into it. So it doesn't really I wouldn't put it in a time frame, but more like the amount of information that you can get about it.
So in the crypto space, what is the trend that you see right now?
Right now is positive. I think it's positive.
It is positive.
Yeah. Again, the recent election had a big it was a big decision maker, I think, in that sense. And now it seems like it leans more towards the growth of crypto coins in general, of all kinds. I think it's gonna grow. I don't know if for the next 4 years, because some of the policies that have been promised, like if they go through, that's a big thing. If they don't go through, that's another thing. It all depends on like what happens in the near future, I think.
Yeah, in the future.
Yeah.
Mr. David, how do you deal with the stress of the major markets drops?
The media market drops? In what way? What do you mean?
I mean, like when the market is dropping, you have to be frustrated to think about if this market is dropping, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to the emotions like that play in the psychology, you know. When the market drops and it affects me, it's normal to think like, you know, like this is because I'm not good, or this is bad, or things like that. But I mean, you have to think, for example, in the greatest drops, like 2008. I mean, there were people who lost millions of dollars, or even before that, the dot-com crash, you know, like people losing all of their money. And so it's a normal, and people who are experts who have made way more money than me. So it's just certain things like extrinsic global events and things like that. And it's certain things are unpredictable. It's kind of hard to know what's going to happen, and you just have to think about it like that it's when you're putting your money in the market, it fluctuates, and the same way it can go up, it can go down as well. So just to be and keep being rational about everything, thinking about the plan and kind of not letting it defer your vision, I guess.
Your vision. So according to your view, what is the regulation in the crypto market? Is it good or bad?
What is the
regulation?
The relation?
Yes, regulation. Do you see it?
Regulations.
Yes. Do you see it as it bad or good? According to you,
I think it could be good. I think it's good. The regulations. You mean from like governments and things like that?
Yes.
I think that they're good and positive towards crypto, and that they are likely to get better in the next coming years, or the next coming year even. I think it's to get better, and that's a good thing. I think for anyone who wants to invest in them. Again, it's like not the safest investment, or not the safest trade. But it looks like a lot of this stuff is a bit of improvisation, you know, is to adapt to what is going on in the world. Because at the end of the day, even any type of trading, any type of investment, it has a lot to do with what goes on around you in the world, and adapting to it, although it might go against traditional thinking. I mean, the world moves really fast, so it's one of those things that you have to adapt to, and not just stick to the same method for your whole entire life. So.
Yeah. David, if tomorrow maybe circumstance could happen, if tomorrow you wake up in the morning and you find that crypto has already disappeared, what would you do?
It's a good question actually, because it's one of those things that makes it's one of the fears that I think I've always had before even investing in crypto, is that it could all go down and disappear. You know, like what happens if like all the internet goes out and stuff like that, or things like that. I think it's a risk that you have to take, or you have to consider before even putting your money into it. In general, if you're investing your money into something even slightly risky, I mean, I think of it as a sunk cost. I think of it as I would be willing to let go of that money, and it's not the end of the world. Although you hope not. You hope it's not the case, but you need to be prepared for that to happen. Otherwise, it can affect you a lot.
Maybe let's say, for example, all your money, you put all your money, all your investment into crypto. So would you commit suicide?
No, I don't know. It's if I was to, like, let's say, lose all my money today. I mean, at the end of the day, I have faith that I can recover it. I have faith that there are people in the world with no money as well, and they make it. And I mean, there have been points where I've had nothing. I've had like zero money to spend, and you know, like I just go back to those roots. Like you go back to thinking about how you can build back up. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. It's something that a lot of people do in life, and it has a lot to do with controlling your emotions, because it's an emotional thing. If you lose all of your money, it's not a rational thing that can affect you or cause you to do something crazy. It's just how you perceive it. So perception is everything, I think.
It's everything. I don't know, maybe let's hope that, because I've seen many guys committing a suicide, so probably like in betting football, most of the guys who lost their money, they ended up taking their lives. So maybe if it comes to you, maybe it could happen also as well. But I wish it could not happen to you. So I heard you earlier mentioning Elon Musk. So according to your perspective, what do you think Elon Musk and the other influencers, they are playing into crypto world?
I know Elon Musk supports the coins. He supports, in general, he supports everything that comes with the future. It seems like everything that's like sci-fi. I mean, the guy's kind of crazy, you know, like, and he wouldn't have gotten to the point that he's at if he wasn't. And so I think that's really cool. And I think that's, you need to be crazy to create things. And he's created things that are incredible. I mean, he's a controversial person. A lot of people are afraid of like the things he does, like creating robots and creating robo taxis and all that stuff, going to Mars. You know, people think he's insane. But, you know, I've been following him for years, and I kind of get the idea of what his vision is. And I think he's a very intelligent person. So although he's made crazy decisions and things like that, that people would not agree with, I believe in it, I think.
You believe?
I don't know him personally, but but I believe in the things that he's done, and I think that he can bring a lot of good with all the things that he's doing, especially with Tesla. I think it's one of the most innovative things that I see affecting the world in the future.
Maybe beside the crypto world, don't you think this guy is leading people or humanity to something else? It's
one of those things. I mean, you've seen the Neuralink that it goes into your head, and you're able to, I guess, become a cyborg or something like that. And to a lot of people, that's very scary. I mean, you see movies like Terminator or and then people are afraid that it's going to become like that. And the whole thing with AI as well. AI is one of the biggest technologies that's going on now.
It's super crazy, you know.
It's crazy. It's crazy because people have mixed emotions about it. Some people see it as a tool, and some people see it as things that is going to take over the world. But just, I think it's important to follow it because it could affect a lot. And I think he's definitely thought of it. I think he's definitely thought about how this could end, you know, like the world or something like that. But I think seeing it from, like, I guess, like a rational, you know, standpoint, I think it could work. I think it's all like really amazing. I mean, he just recently, just a month ago, officially announced the robo taxis, as well as the robots Optimus, and the other day I had a chance to see that at the GTEx event.
Those robots are going to kill us someday, right?
It looks like it. I mean, you see the robot and you think like, well, this thing doesn't have a face, and it's like you don't know what it's gonna do and all that stuff. You can already imagine like a fleet of them, but I think it's a slow process, especially. I mean, some people think like from one day to the next, they're just all the robots are gonna decide to like take over all of us. But I don't think that's like really possible at this point. I think it's a slow process, like every technology, although it could definitely affect very quickly. But I don't see it. I don't see that it could take us over, really.
You don't see that?
If we make the right, I guess if we make the right decisions and
maybe
take the right
let's wait
precautions.
for the best. Maybe it is good for good. Maybe it's going to bring the good impact on humanity or on the people. So 3-year journey from Mexico, Canada, Dubai. I think now you're still traveling many countries. So what was the moment that you feel like, that you realize crypto could change your life?
I think it was a time that I spent in Boston over the summer. I mean, I've heard of Bitcoin for a while and I've been following it, but it was until I met an expert on it, and who actually has like a lot of investment in it. That's when I started to listen really well, because somebody who puts all their money into it, I need to hear more. I need to understand why they believe so much in it. And after hearing what he had to say, I started to see the impact it really had in the world. I mean, I knew it was going to grow, but I just could not put myself to invest in it without knowing more about it. And it was over a few months ago when I learned more about it. I realized this can do really well. This is going to grow, regardless, even of like external factors like elections or policies or things like that. I think it's almost inevitable that it's going to grow. So that's when I started to invest in it for real.
So and I think by the time that you joined the crypto, I believe your family members, your friends, they were not literally used to it, and I think they were asking you a lot of questions. So how do you handle when they ask about this? What are you doing? Are you not putting yourself in trouble investing in something that you really don't even know exists?
That's a good question. Like I think the person in my family who's had the most influence in, or is usually the most critical about whenever I make a decision to invest, is my dad. He always starts off with like the negative, and then after, if he agrees with what I have to say, if I am able to convince him, then he agrees with it. Or if I'm never able to convince him, he'll say, that's a bad idea, I don't like it. And so I like that, because it gives me the ability to have the other side and like balance out the good and the bad and come to a rational decision. And so, I mean, I've made investment decisions before that he doesn't agree with, and it went well. And so I think at this point, I guess he has more faith in what I do. I mean, the rest of my family, I think they have seen that I've done well in it, and so they trust my judgment in a certain sense. And as well, like I think they keep up as well with the news and what goes on, and so they know, I guess, the same amount. They share a similar opinion with me in certain things, especially with crypto. Yeah, so I don't get too much criticism about it from my family.
So unless it was even the new thing, they just take it like the way that you maybe, I mean, they believed in your vision.
Yeah.
They never asked you a lot of questions regarding about it. Maybe this guy is going to go insane. It's going to go crazy.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time talking about how I did not agree with it for a while, and so when I convince, like, it's easy to rationalize why it's not a good investment. It's difficult to rationalize why it is a good investment, because it's one of those things that is, like, as you were saying, it's a lot of psychology and just a lot of like reading the world and what people are thinking about it, like what the perception is. And if everyone's putting their money in this thing, then that's where the money is at, regardless of whether you think it's smart or not smart. And you see a lot of I guess big investment firms investing into it, creating ETFs, governments backing it, buying securities, and then it becomes easier to rationalize. And so that's how I usually make decisions. Is I try to give it a little bit of science, a little bit of if I'm able to convince, I guess, my dad about it, then I think, like, it's a good decision.
It's a good decision. Yeah. Going back to the crypto world, which trend or which crypto project do you think people, they are ignoring it? So, and while maybe they shouldn't ignore that one.
There's been a lot of attempts to create stable coins. So stable coins are basically cryptocurrencies that are not just based on the amount of supply that is created of the coin, but also has a base value. For example, there are coins based on gold, and so gold has an intrinsic value. And if the coin was to drop, if everybody was to sell the coin at one point, I mean, the value goes back to the base of gold. And so that gives it a bit more security. And I mean, that's a little bit on one of the projects I was working on, is to create a stable coin that actually works, because a lot of them have not worked. But it doesn't seem like I think there's potential in stable coins. And so I think if more people were to look into that, it would see a lot of the older generation, like the boomers, you could say, there's a lot of money in that generation that they have invested, and they see investment as in a more traditional sense of evaluating and, like, financials of a company, or of different things that you can study and you can actually justify it. And it's very difficult to convince them to invest in the new coin, like, invest in Dogecoin or in Bitcoin or whatever, because they see it as, like, one of those new things that just, like, they don't understand it and difficult to understand. But if you're able to create a coin that is backed by real assets, I mean, that's something that they're used to, and that there's billions of dollars in that generation, or even, like, younger than that. Like, the rest of the people who still don't believe in Bitcoin or in different coins like that, this is a way to convince that money to invest into the new, like, it's because I'm sure a lot of this generation has heard of the potential of crypto and blockchain and all that stuff, but they're unsure about it. And so if you're able to mix that new concept with something that they're used to, something traditional, I mean, you're able to convince a lot of people. So I think that's one of those projects that.
So according to the experience that you have right now, there are some younger traders, there are some people who doesn't really have the clue what is the crypto. So what could be the advice you could give to them in order to motivate them or to keep grinding? So what is the hope or advice that you could give to them?
I mean, I think to invest in crypto, you don't really need to understand every detail about how it works, or blockchain in general, or Bitcoin as, like, the first one. A lot of cryptos are based on the original algorithm of Bitcoin. Like, I think as long as you have a general sense of what it is, you can get the idea. But at the end of the day, it's a lot about just what people think about it and how people feel about the blockchain technology. I think that's the main thing. Because other than that, it's a lot of technical stuff. It's just about how it works, and I think it's good to look into it as well. But anybody looking into investing in blockchain, I mean, watch a YouTube video about it, I would say.
Oh.
And then other than that, look into which coin and why, and I guess talk to certain experts on why they have chosen those coins, why they back that, why they put all their money in that. You know, like what people think about it. I think that's like where most of the research can be made.
Yeah. Anyway, I think people who are literally want to know, they have heard what David said. But David, other things that you do, not crypto or being a trader of the crypto, there's other things that you do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I look to more create businesses, and I've seen like trading or investing as more of a way to earn money funded by my income. And so, you know, right now I have a business, e-commerce business that I'm running in Dubai with a team, and from here we like kind of create different products that can help people focus, and usually mostly people with ADHD like myself, like it helps them focus, and I think it's great. It's something you can carry around. I don't have one with me, but I mean, maybe you can share it, and as well, like in beginning of next year, I'm going with my team to Delhi in India and to create a consumer brand. And so we have a few projects that are planned in the future. So
that is your next move.
That's the next move.
That's your next move.
Yeah. Hopefully to like have this e-commerce business take off, or at least learn a lot from it, and then from there move to India and then learn about the markets. You know, I think it's amazing to travel around the world and
you learn the experience.
Do business while doing there. I think
man, you're doing an amazing thing. I wish I can go with you guys because according to all the countries that you've traveled and you are getting all the skills, maybe after you finish traveling all the whole world, you'll be able to become the second Elon Musk.
Hopefully, hopefully. You never know.
I believe because people learn from experience, so the more experience comes, the more we acquire more experience. That's the more we master the things.
That's
anyway,
right.
David, thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Yeah, I think we'll have the second episode before you go. So from now, how long you have here in Dubai?
I have until end of December.
Till end of December.
Yeah, so just about a month and a half. Oh, almost 2 months. Almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months.
There's still time. Yeah.
Yeah, still time. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I think if David is still here before he leaves Dubai, I think we are going to invite him again, and yeah, we will. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.